So Leon Jennings from Asian Persuasion MMA, here with the one featherweight champion, Martin Nguyen. Martin, how are you?
Been well, man. Been well. Training hard, staying in shape.
How
Nothing
difficult is
else.
it keeping in shape, training in this crazy time?
Yeah, it is. It is crazy, but I mean, I've got like a small group of me that I've been training with for quite a long time now, and we've all stuck together throughout this time, and we're still training, still doing our thing. I'm getting programs sent from my team back in Florida, and we're just staying sharp. Nothing too overboard, but we're still staying sharp.
How difficult is it to train? I mean, and there's been restrictions. I think Melbourne's gone down in lockdown for another 6 weeks. What's it like in Sydney?
Sydney, everyone's kind of, I wouldn't say it's gone back to normal life, but it's like everyone's being wary. Everyone's practicing social distancing. The closest someone would ever get to each other is when, someone holds pads for you or, but everyone's smart. Everyone, stays clean, from what I see. And I just try to practice the same thing as well.
When did you leave Florida? How long were you at Sanford for before you thought, I better get out of here?
I was there for seven weeks. I was on my seventh week before we left. My flight was meant to be on at the end of the eighth week, but it was cancelled, and they rescheduled me on the earliest flight home, which was just as my seventh week started. So look, it was just one of those times, man. You got to get out. You got to get out. And Australia had posted up that all Australians abroad come home before the borders shut. So had to do what I had to do.
When was that? March?
That was the very end of March. Yeah. So I was meant to spend one more week in Florida, which would have made it like April 4th or something like that before I went home, spent a week at home and then fly out to the fights. But yeah, that obviously didn't happen. So
I mean, it was crazy the way it literally got crazy by the week. It was like, oh, I'll be okay. And then crazy is like you say, Australians going, if you're Australian, we recommend you come home now.
100%, man. It's like, look, day by day, I wasn't even fussed about it. I was like, Florida, everyone's walking around like it was, spring break at the time, and everyone was walking around hitting the beaches, and the news every day. We come home from training, we watch was it news, I think CNN, and then it was something new every day, and then the president was on TV every day, and I was like, man, I think this is getting serious, yeah. And then I was like, what, I might check my flight. And luckily I did check it at that time, because I would have waited up until the time I had to fly and check it, and it's cancelled, yeah. It was everything was cancelled, and yeah, and then I was even flying home. They like had two cancellations. The whole flight was like 50 something hours just to get back to Australia. But it is what it is.
Damn, Florida has been one of the worst hit places in the whole world, I think.
Yeah, I think at that time it was those spring breakers that came down from up in New York, and yeah, I think that's how it got down to Florida, from what I was told. But yeah, it is pretty crazy at the moment, and our boy Angler's got it. So I think everyone's getting it, and it's coming to a point where you know you gotta get it or you're not. One of the
I'm 99% sure I had it back in March.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone had to a mild extent, but yeah, probably not as bad as some people passing away from it.
I mean, I didn't really get any symptoms apart from just a tight chest. And even then, 3 months on, I still can't shake it, but I didn't get any headaches, fevers. I mean, it's weird how it's affecting everyone different.
100%. I mean, I was talking to Angla, and he was like, man, he was training, he was like benching and squatting and deadlifting like a monster, and he looks phenomenal shape. And then the next day I talked to him, he's like in his room, and I was like, what happened? He goes, I think I got corona. He was talking to me normal. And the next day after that, he goes, oh, my body's just sore. But he's still talking to me normal. Like, he's still positive. He's not like he's bedbound. And then the next day after that, he's meant to be freaking quarantining, but he's, being old English, just training and training and training. And then I was like, man, it does affect people differently. And, thankfully he's not like coma or bedbound, he's still the same person.
So I think if you're young and healthy, I think you're generally going to be all right. So
100%.
you boys should be all right.
Oh, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
What are the positives of this whole situation that you can take out of it?
The positives is obviously practice, being clean, social distancing in general, washing your hands. Like, I did wash my hands, but I wasn't paying attention, until I found out how serious it was. Obviously, I'm much more wary about the whole situation now, and yeah, it's just a speed bump in the world that everyone will get over eventually.
You haven't had much luck with getting a fight in. Obviously, you're supposed to fight Christian end of last year, and then Eddie Alvarez got injured, so you lost your opponent. You're supposed to fight Than Lee, and then the world went crazy. How difficult is it to stay positive and think, man, when can I fight again? Especially because you told me last year you wanted to stay really active, and then completely out of your control, you've been on the sidelines a while.
You just said it there, man. It literally is completely out of my control. The best thing I can do in this whole situation is try and get better and better every day. Every day, learning something new. We're training hard every day, even though my fight was on the line of not happening or not. We still train as if we had fights and we had privates, and we still did everything right up until that very last minute where I had to leave. So, and that's not saying like when I came back here, I did nothing. I still did the same thing. When I was on quarantine, I was doing my own thing, making sure I was always on point. Even to this day, we gathered up a big group now, and we're allowed to actually train as a group, and we're practicing everything that I've learned over there, and it's just becoming repetitive movements, and I'm getting better at things that I never thought I would ever get better at. So I'm getting comfortable with everything, and everything we're doing at the moment is right. And I've also was honoured to be part of Alex Volkanovski's training camp, so that was a bit of a training camp for me too.
That was going to be my next question. How's that experience? I mean, the UFC featherweight champion, the one championship featherweight champion training together. Was there any video footage?
I'm sure there's video footage on his end. There was people recording, but obviously for training purposes.
Yeah.
But look, at the end of the day, it was it was, as I said, man, it was an honor. Training with Alex, he's obviously proved that he's the best in the world, and for someone like me to be a part of his camp, even though it was all about him and nothing about me, it was good to witness. What a champion could do, and compare it to myself, and there wasn't that much of a difference, but there is. I'm honoured at the end of the day. So
he said he had to get permission from the government to train. Was that the same for yourself then in Sydney?
No, yeah. So he did. He had like police commissioners, health ministers, everything involved with his camp, because at the time when they had to get everything together, it was like gyms were starting to open, but there was no contact, and obviously being a contact sport, we need contact, and so he gave it up the approval, and we had to do our tests, COVID tests. We had to fill in forms daily and lodge them online, so health minister can keep track of it, and we had to go get COVID tests done and everything like that. So he done everything right. For myself to train, we still trained as a group, and as I said, man, pad holding was allowed, and we weren't going anything beyond pad holding. So everything like that. Like that. The only thing that we aren't practicing at the moment is obviously the grappling side, because that's not 100% approved yet. So I think in a couple more weeks, it should be approved, and classes should be running back to normal.
How do you see Alex versus Jose Aldo going this weekend?
Holloway, you meant?
Oh, sorry, yeah, Max Holloway, yeah, sorry.
I see it going the exact same way. The first fight, Max is going to try pour on the pressure. Alex is going to match it, if not beat it 2 times more. And Alex says he's going to knock this guy out, and I can see it happening to an extent. But I personally think this fight is going to be a dog fight. It's going to go to decision, and obviously it's going to go Alex's way.
What do you think of their first fight?
The first fight was a whitewash, man. 50-45. The judges got it right. How Max thought he won, I don't know how. Maybe he realized after the fight, and he's lucky enough to get this rematch, but it is what it is. I can't say any more than that. I see Alex winning all 5 rounds, and I still see the same thing this coming up fight. So,
And how do you see the main and co-main event? Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo, and
crazy,
Usman
man.
versus Masvidal.
Well,
How do you
yeah,
see them two going?
that's a pretty good fight card, man. I see Peter Yan walking away with this bout. I don't know how, but he's just technically. I mean, no disrespect to Aldo, he's like the king of the featherweights, right? This is another ball game we're talking about. I know he's strong, I know he's tough, but he's getting old. Peter Yan is more hungrier. He's much younger, and his last few bouts have been destructive. So I see Peter Yan walking away this bout, and obviously our boy Kamaru walking
Yeah.
away as well.
How would it have gone down if it was Usman versus Gilbert Burns? Obviously Burns out now, but
Obviously, I always said that I wasn't going to watch it. Obviously, I would watch it, but I wouldn't have a say on it. It was just two of the best guys in the gym going at it, and they both have purposes, and they both have tremendous skills. And may the best man win. That's what I always said. They'll, two of the best in the gym, always pushing every other athlete in that gym, and their positive energy rubs off on you. So it was kind of sad see them both going against each other. I wouldn't be able to go up against a friend, but they personally agreed on it, and it's a man-to-man thing. Let the skills do the talking.
since you last fought, in fact quite recently, the One Championship rankings are out. What are your thoughts there? What are your thoughts on your top 5 in your division?
Yeah, they all deserved to be in their positions. I think Marat got snobbed for 4th place, but I still think he should be in that top 5. But because he changed weight divisions and because of his last bout and the rankings coming out after that, he wasn't chosen to be in the top 5 at all. But I mean, it is what it is. Everyone in that top 5 is on my radar, and yeah, it's just a matter of time before I've already beaten two of the 4, so the other 2 or 3, whatever it is, I'm still yet to verse, and I will come to a crossroad with those 3, possibly even 5 again. So we'll see what happens.
Obviously, you were supposed to fight Than Lee previously. Wouldn't that be great if that could be in Vietnam? We were just talking about that a minute ago. Do you think that's a realistic chance in the next? Well, I guess we don't know when the coronavirus is going to allow. But will that still be your next fight, even though that was being postponed because of the coronavirus?
That's still the fight that I want. So we'll see what happens with. I think it's all government. I think it's all government control at the moment. So some countries are opening up their borders now. They're accepting people from this country, but they're picking and choosing the countries that are allowed in or not. So we'll see what happens. I want to fight as soon as possible. I feel like it's been a long time coming, almost a year. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, I want to try pump out as much as possible, but it's all border control at the moment. So government controlled. The moment they allow Australians and the US people to fly, whatever, that bout's going to happen, myself and Tang. So it's just a matter of time.
How much are you communicating with One Championship to keep you updated, or is it a case of they don't know what's happening yet because, like you say, it's just down to the government?
Yeah, it is. It really is down to the governments. Funny you say that. I was speaking to Chatri earlier, and that's what's coming out from his side. So they're doing all that they can on their side. All we can do is obviously just go whatever our government says, and train hard, practice social distancing, stay clean, and stay ready. That's the main thing. Stay ready. I know some people are taking this time to let their body heal, and I've been doing that same thing as well. But there's to an extent where I let myself get away from myself. I still have to maintain, my goals of being the world's best, and that's maintaining my training sessions daily. So
last thing I wanted to ask you about, I don't know if you saw it last week, I spoke to Mark Sangal and he mentioned that Kevin Belingon, he said he's interested in fighting you at featherweight.
Of course he is. Of course he is interested in fighting me. He's already beaten me once at bantamweight. What is there for him to lose coming up to featherweight? What can I say about that? I mean, everyone's going to be calling me out. Obviously, I'm a champion. No one wants to see him versus Bibiano again. So, what's the next exciting thing for him? Obviously, taking on me, someone he's beaten at his weight division. I think if he comes up to featherweight, it's going to be a complete different fight. I've got much bigger size on him. Everything. I'm just going to complete new fighter, man. Good on him for calling me out. That's all I can say, man.
Should obviously welcome him. I guess though with the rankings now, it's going to be difficult for him to just jump in and challenge the champ.
100%, man. For him, obviously, who else is going to target throughout that top 5? He's not going to want to fight anyone else but me. You know, I'm the champion of the weight division. It's like me going back down to bantamweight. I'm not going to take on the top 5. I want to take on Bibiano. Like, it's just me saying the same thing, you know, and skipping those 5 people. I think it's unfair to say at the least, but it's just obviously the smart thing to say. What he wants, you know, but what the other people want, which is the fans, I don't think he'll get his way anytime soon.
I think you might have to wait for that one.
100%, man.
Cool. Well, thanks for today, Martin. Good to catch up. Man. Hope to see you back in that one circle soon.
Very soon, man. Very soon. Hopefully.
Okay. Cool. Nice one.
All right, man.
Cheers, man.
Talk to ya.
Yeah.